This video is brought to you by Squarespace. Hi everyone! It is that time of the year again. Cozy clothed weather, hot beverages, pumpkins, leaves, mushrooms, and of course art prompts. You asked for it, so here it is. The Kattober 2023 prompt list. And in case you don't know what this is, Kattober is my own version of Inktober, but with cats of course. You will find the list over at my social medias, link is in the description box below. And the reason why I'm posting this video now and not in October when the challenge is taking place is simply because I want to promote it before the challenge actually begins, so that you guys, if you want to participate, will have a little bit of time to prepare. Anyway, I'm gonna do a few of these prompts today, and instead of just doing them one and one, I'm gonna pick a few of them by random, maybe not this many, but I'm gonna pick a few and combine them into one illustration. So the first prompt is shadow. Let's see the next one. We have, oh, treasure. Just for fun, let's add another one. Oh, mysterious. Let's pick one more. Wonderland. All right, I think that will do actually. Shadow, treasure, mysterious, and wonderlands. Yeah, let's do this. But first, if you love cute, floral, or witchy things, my shop is filled with them. Adorable handmade cat pins and magnets, stickers, prints, and stationery supplies, bookmarks. I would be super happy if you could check it out. Link is in the description box below. Thank you. So I know I just dedicated my past 3 videos to my little explorer kitty, now officially known as Kit, but seeing these prompts I just could not draw him searching for a treasure. I mean, that is what he does, exploring mysterious places. So I'm gonna be honest, as I always try to be, I struggled so much with this sketch. I had a clear image in my head, but it was so hard to get it through my hand onto the canvas. I struggled with the perspective, with the details, with the composition. I think my past project with the accordion sketchbook had me a little weary creatively, mentally. I also have some other things going on right now that be taking a lot of my focus lately, so I guess my mind is just a little all over the place. Anyway, I finally managed to make a sketch that I felt fairly happy with. So now when we have the sketch on the paper, I'm lining everything with a Unipin brush pen, and I'm really loving this pen for the line art because it looks very organic, so you can't really tell if you mess up any of the lines, which is perfect. It is also very fitting for this kind of environment, I think. We have these castle ruins with a lot of stone and nature plant textures. It gives a very rustic and rougher look. To illustrate the see-throughness of the ghost spirit creatures, whatever they are, and the light or smoke coming from the treasure chest, I used the same brush pen but in a very light gray instead, just to make the lines a little softer, like you're seeing them through something. And I did the same around the cat, Kit, to illustrate the circle of light coming from the lantern. So speaking of mysterious and spooky, making a beautiful website can be kind of intimidating, huh? Well, not anymore thanks to today's sponsor, Squarespace. People like me and you who don't know how to make a website, now we can do just that. Squarespace offers flexible website templates, meaning you can pick a design and customize your look, update content, and add features to fit your unique needs. Opening an online store will be easy, whether you sell physical or digital items or service products. Squarespace have all the tools that you need to get started. You can even sell in person by connecting a Square reader to the Squarespace app, and it will keep your orders, inventory, and customer data in sync with your online store. Basically, you can focus on being creative while Squarespace do all the hard work for you. How great isn't that? Go to squarespace.com for a free trial, and when you're ready to launch, go to squarespace.com/Kattvalk to save 10% off your first purchase of a website or domain. Thanks so much to Squarespace for sponsoring this video. So I'm gonna do a little bit of an experiment with this piece. I will start by adding an ink wash to everything using Black Indian ink. And of course Phoenix has to do some inspection to see that everything's up to standard. I made ink washes by mixing ink with different amount of water for different shades, and then I'm just painting them on there. I haven't worked with ink or ink washes in a while, but it is basically like using watercolors. I really enjoy this process. You don't have to think about what colors to use. The thing I find a little tricky though is to not overwork it and making it too dark. You want to keep the contrast. I try to start very light and then add darker and darker tones where it's needed, and I think it still may have turned out a little too dark for my liking, especially when adding the background later. You don't want everything to blend together into one dark gray blob, but also I had in mind that one of the prompts is actually shadow, so I guess I can get away with that. It is supposed to be a dark and mysterious place. For the background, I wanted there to be stars, and instead of just adding them later with white paint or painting around them, I wanted to try my brand new masking fluid, which turned out to be such a mess. The nozzle had already clogged up just from testing it, and the bottle leaked all over the place when I tried to squeeze it, and I had to remove the cap and dig out chunks of thickened up fluid with a pencil. So no, not my favorite thing to do, but I finally managed to do a test on the paper and it all seems fine, so I added some stars to the sky. So this is my little experiment. As I mentioned earlier, I'm gonna add watercolors on top of the ink. I know, crazy, but I haven't tried it before and I was curious, and I thought having the ink under the watercolors would add a darker, more desaturated tone. I know that you sometimes do that in digital art when practicing shading, for example, starting in grayscale and then adding the colors on top of that. And I think adding the colors to this piece also helped giving it more dimension. As I mentioned before, I thought it ended up a little too dark with all the inks, but the watercolors helped separating the different areas and it gave it more depth. Since the ink is waterproof, it worked perfectly to paint over it, and I think the ink also gave the watercolors a very nice shaded look. The whole scene looks very old and rustic, which is perfect. So why is this taking place on a floating island? My initial idea was to make a wonderland scene with a lot of mushrooms and trees and plants and shape it kind of like a diorama. Then I added the treasure, which doesn't necessarily need to be in a chest, but that is what happened anyway. And then all of a sudden there was this old ruin and now we are on this floating island. So it isn't really what I had in mind at first, but sometimes you just have to go with the flow, and I just needed to be done with a sketch. And how did Kit, the Kitty Explorer, get here? I honestly have no idea. Maybe he found a portal that brought him here, or maybe he's got this very big bird friend that dropped him off. I don't know. If you have any ideas, please let me know. How did Kit get here and what is this place? It seems like the treasure is cursed and also guarded by these mysterious ghost spirits, so he need to be very careful. But maybe the crystal that he picked up in the crystal cave in the previous video will keep him protected. Who knows? Now when the masking fluid has dried, I can paint the background. I'm starting with the ink first, just as before, and once it's dried, I added blue and purple watercolors to give the sky a little more color and dimension. I'm also adding some color to the ghost spirit guards. I first thought that maybe I should leave them white, but I decided to add a very light color wash to them too, just to give them this see-through look, and I actually really like how they turned out. I also added some color to the moon in the background. Once everything had dried, I removed the masking fluid, which is always such a satisfying process. The masking fluid worked really well, too bad that it is such a mess to use it. I added some more smaller stars with a paint pen, and then I finished everything off with some color pencils. I had actually planned to do one more illustration. I had even picked the prompt for it, but since I struggled so much with this piece in the beginning, I was running out of time and I just couldn't push myself to make one more. My brain was mush, so I decided to spend a little extra time on this instead to make it very nice and finished. It may not be my favorite piece of all time, but I still like how it turned out, and it was a lot of fun playing around with inks and watercolors together. I really hope you enjoyed this video and the art. Let me know what you think of it, and I hope you guys are as excited for Kattober as I am. And if you would like to participate, you find the prompt list over at my social medias. You can participate all the days or only a few days, as much or as little as you like. I just want you to have fun with it, and any art mediums are allowed. So that is all for today. Thanks Squarespace for sponsoring this video, and thank you guys for watching. I will see you next time. Keep drawing my happy cats. Bye!